everybody. Welcome to Klaus to the Heart. I am Jason Klaus. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this. If you haven't done so already and you're digging what you're watching, hit the subscribe button for me, and you'll be notified every time a new episode is uploaded to the YouTube channel. We try to do a new one at least once a week. And it also gives you an opportunity, if this is your first time watching this, to go back and check out the previous episodes that are up there in the archives, as they say. Still working out the format of the show, this being our 10th episode, 10th official episode. We're still working out the format here and trying to find something that's going to resonate with the majority of our viewers. Some of you like the full blown, promo mode shows where, I'm yelling and hooting and hollering, and the other ones have a more appreciation for the dialed back type of format like this here is, where it's kind of like a one-on-one calm conversation. We're still trying to figure things out here, but regardless, I can't thank you enough for all of the support. And if you have an idea for the show, you have a question, comment, shout out, that type of thing, drop us an email at klaustotheheart@gmail.com, or you can send us a direct message through our Facebook page. Just look for Klaus to the Heart. A lot of times on the show, I've talked about working towards your goals, working towards, your dreams, making your dreams come true, because we get this one thing, this one crack at life, and I firmly believe that more often than not, we are in control of who and what we are and where we go in life. All based on the decisions that we make and whether or not we take advantage of opportunities that are presented to us. Some of us, an opportunity might be presented to us with flashing lights and all the bells and whistles, and there is no doubt that that is where you need to be. Other times, life will be more subtle about things, and it will present doors of opportunity that you may have to look a little harder for, or actually put a little bit more thought into it, as to whether or not that's something that you want to do. Because a lot of times, when we develop our dreams and when we are trying to figure out where we want to be in life, it's a lot of personal soul searching. It's a lot of what is right in front of us. And a lot of times we find that it's easier to go down the beaten path that everybody else may be traveling on. And a lot of times, for some of you, that getting by is good enough. For others, that is not the case. We have dreams, we have goals, we have aspirations. Initially when we start thinking about things, we have these ideas of grandeur. And sometimes we are reminded, whether we want to be or not, where we need to be, where we should be, where we would make a more powerful impact with the time that we are given here. Life will throw us curveballs, detours, roadblocks, and everything else to get us off that beaten path and maybe take you down an alternative road that would essentially open up other doors of opportunity that you may not know even existed. But once you are forced one way or the other to go down these unbeaten paths, you start to realize that this is truly where you want and need to be. For me personally, anybody who knows anything about me knows that a good portion of my life has always been revolved around professional wrestling. When I was a kid, whenever anybody asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. There was no doubt in my mind that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to go to the World Wrestling Federation, now WWE. I wanted to headline WrestleMania. I wanted my name and my face on pay-per-view posters and t-shirts and other forms of merchandise. I wanted to be a public figure. I wanted to be in the spotlight and I wanted to be a superstar. A lot of times, we take all of our experiences in our personal lives and use that as a catalyst for where we want to be. Because when I was a kid, I was picked on terribly for a number of reasons. First and foremost, because I have a stuttering problem, and I've talked about this in an earlier episode. But I also got picked on because I was a wrestling fan, and when you were a wrestling fan in the 1980s as a kid, it wasn't taken nearly as seriously as it is nowadays. I mean, now WWE is a $1 billion global organization. And I mean, their biggest stars are known worldwide. That's what I wanted to be when I was a kid. That's what my brother wanted to be when he was a kid. And we had all these great dreams and ideas. And, after high school, I was, like everybody else, you had, a few different options to choose from as to which way you wanted the next chapter of your life to go. I went down the one that I thought was going to take me to WWE. Life, as it does, through a roadblock, through a curveball, through, different sets of obstacles along the way that forced me to get off that path, take this detour, and really open my eyes to another opportunity or endeavor that I would not have explored otherwise. And that is what led to the creation of my own wrestling promotion. And no longer was my focus solely on being a superstar or being in the spotlight or having my personal name and face and likeness and everything on t-shirts and posters and things of this nature. It was to provide a launching pad, and it was to provide an opportunity for other men and women who may not have had an opportunity to get involved in the realm of professional wrestling. Sure, it wasn't on the worldwide stage that WWE has, but instead it was on a more intimate, more personal, more, in our case, statewide area. And I have now, as I sit here in 2019, I'm 25 years into this thing. Obviously, I am not on my way to Los Angeles for the big Fox premiere of SmackDown this coming Friday night, but I'm here recording the 10th episode of my YouTube show. And who would have thought I would have had an opportunity to do a YouTube show? And I get it, it's not racking up huge numbers, but I have a loyal audience that watches every show. The wrestling company, the MWO, has a loyal fan following that those fans will support the men and women that are performing in the ring. So my point is even we may have what we think the best laid plans, and this is what's going to take us to the promised land. Um, but I've come to realize that being forced off that road and going down the journey that I personally have embarked on has led me to find more fulfillment in professional wrestling than I probably would have had if I was one of the select few that had made it on a national or worldwide stage. My point is sometimes we have to look at the obstacles and the roadblocks that are presented to us as maybe the detours that we need to take to either take us to a different goal that we don't realize yet, or to get us away from imminent danger. And I use the word danger somewhat loosely. I mean, I know that sounds incredibly ominous, but um, you know, a lot of times when we focus so hard on where we want to be, we will ignore more subtle signs of life trying to tell us you need to stop where you are and you need to go around this next obstacle, because over the horizon there's something waiting for you that you want no part of. A lot of times we don't see that. And I know a lot of times that I have talked on this show that, if you have a goal, you work towards it, you get on that path, and everything is going to come up roses, and you're going to get to your pinnacle, and everybody lives happily ever after. A lot of times that does not happen. Um, and we have to adapt, we have to adjust, we sometimes have to, sometimes it's a minor thing, it's a minor adjustment. Other times it can totally make you just refocus on every aspect of your life. It could be something, that we do have control over, that we consciously make that change, as scary as it can be. Other times, it could be something as catastrophic as losing a loved one, or having a falling out with a trusted friend or partner, or life will ultimately dictate to you what path you need to go. Sometimes it's met with resistance, and when it's met with resistance, you start running into more challenges, and that's when you start to second guess yourself as to whether you're doing the right thing or that you're on the right path. Other times, life will completely knock you off your course, will halt any kind of momentum that you think that you have. It will make you reevaluate things whether you want to or not. And sometimes in our darkest hours, it may seem like the entire world is coming to an end. That's one way of dealing with it. The other way of dealing with it is taking that opportunity to stop and actually reevaluate things. Is where you're going, is the path that you're on really the one that you need to be on? Are you truly happy? Is it something that you want to do, or is this something that you have to do? We could sit here and overanalyze everything, but a lot of times you just gotta stop and breathe and take in where you're at. And if something catastrophic, if something bad, if something monumental happens that knocks you off your path, I believe that it's happened for a reason. Now, we may not know all the answers. We just don't. As much as we have this insatiable, desire to know everything about everything, it does not happen that way. There's two ways to deal with adversity in life, in my opinion. There's on one side of the coin, you have those people that are met with a significant challenge, that are met with some bad event, some negative event, and it will totally dictate their future. It will knock them off their path. It will knock them down to their knees, and that's where they will stay. And then they start, oh man, poor me, woe is me. Life did this, life did that. Hey, life happens to everybody. On the other side of the equation, you can look at it as motivation. You can look at a circumstance that has knocked you off your path as a way to test your resolve, as a way to test your strength, to test your work ethic. And in some cases, it may have happened to make you reevaluate the path that you're on. Because Everything happens for a reason. Now, if it's something bad and you let it control and dictate and direct you from here on out to a path that you may not be as passionate about, you're not going to perform as well. You're not going to succeed the way that you want. But if you look at it objectively, take a step back, because sometimes we all know life, and with all the technology advances and the multitasking and taking the kids to all of their sporting events, dance classes, this thing, the other, we are forced, whether we want to or not, to have to take a step back and look at the whole picture and realize the different aspects, the good, bad, or indifferent of where we need to be. Everything happens for a reason. And if you are knocked off your path, if you are dealt with a significantly crushing blow, it's because life is making you stop to actually look and evaluate and decide, am I on the right path? And if you don't feel in your heart of hearts that you are, this is your opportunity to get on that right path. Or it could be something simply as life is trying to shield you from something very bad that's awaiting you that you don't see. And that may not come to fruition for quite some time down the road, but there will be that day where you're like, holy crap, had I done this, I would have been right stuck in the middle of Suckville, and nobody wants to hang out in Suckville. So be aware and don't be so oblivious to the signs that life gives you. You know, whether it's Murphy's Law, whether it's a higher power, whatever it is that you believe in. Everything I believe happens for a reason. And how we react to it, how we adapt to it, will dictate the road that takes us to where we want to be, to what we want to be, and to the level of happiness that we allow ourselves to have when it's all said and done. So, with that being said, thank you for watching this episode of Klaus to the Heart. Keep checking back for more episodes, and until then, we will see you next time right here on the show.